blame Frank. We're live now. It's all
Well,
Frank's fault.
Oh, yeah.
Frank, yeah,
you guys can always finish without me, too.
That's what she said.
Oh, God, we're walking into that again. Jesus.
It'll never go away.
Hello,
everybody.
My screen here.
Hey, everyone. It's Visual Trading Thursday.
Yeah.
We have the Cowboy with us, and we have Frank. Just Frank.
Yes. We've been off for 2 weeks. Cowboy got
also
married.
known as Everclear. And
I thought it was Eversmear.
I thought it was Evanescence, but anyway.
I recall
love you, man.
Ever sexy.
Yeah.
So we were off for a couple. We've done a few of these shows and people really like them. Thanks for all the feedback. We were off for Thanksgiving and then Cowboy got married, so we took another day off. But we're back with Visual Trading Thursday, where Cowboy, right now we're in a series where he's taking us through different indicators and nuts and bolts stuff about how to trade. So for today's show, I'm excited because maybe once I see it I'll know what it is, but this is one that I don't know anything about. So and I'm scrolling through our text messages because I forgot what it's called. Oh, VPVR. That's what we're looking at today. So Cowboy, share a chart with us and let's start mulling through what VPVR is and how it can help people in their trading.
Sure. I just got the chart to where I want it. Let me get us on here. Let me share my social security number with you and my bank account number.
Of course, always.
All right, let me know when you can see my chart, guys.
I can. Can everybody see it?
Oh yeah, let me do this. Let me.
Oh, by the way, have we posted the link in all the rooms and stuff?
No, I'm on it though.
All right,
bringing it up.
Yeah, let's do that before we really get started.
Got it.
That's big.
There we are. Okay, I'm posting it in the room. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's live. We're good.
Good. I'm gonna repost that in the room where everybody talks here.
Right.
We'll give them a second to get on.
Love that clacky keyboard.
Yeah, it's all about the mechanical keyboard. So, we're giving everybody
which one do you use?
I actually have right now. I had a DOS keyboard, DAS, like as in German, as in Das Keyboard. Yeah, this is very good.
Yeah.
You like the keyboard? Yeah, this is Das Keyboard. So you have like your computers that, or your keyboards that have, say, like, this is the comparison between drive-by-wire and whether or not your steering wheel has a rack pinion. So like this BMW that I just got that V knows all too well, that's being delivered possibly today or tomorrow. This BMW is the last platform of the M3 where you have an actual rack and pinion, where you physically touch the wheel in a sense, because the steering wheel has a physical metal bar with gears at the end of it that turn the wheels. Okay, right. So that's mechanical. Now, the new ones, what they have is a steering wheel goes into a computer. That computer sends a signal to another machine that you don't physically touch that turns the wheels. That's drive-by-wire. So a mechanical keyboard is more like the rack and pinion, where you actually get the true feedback. Yeah. And the new keyboards that you have, like your Macs and stuff, they're not really mechanical. Yeah. They're more like a drive-by-wire.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's the DOS Keyboard 4.
Yeah, it's killer.
On Amazon. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I have a clackety keyboard that I used when I had my stand-up desk, which was, it separates into 2 sections. So you can have your arms kind of at it. You don't have to like squeeze your arms in. They're just out naturally. And it's pretty cool, but I'm not using it in my current setup. I don't know. Maybe I'll bring it back. It's very big. And I have like a MIDI controller and, all kinds of stuff on my desk. So right now I'm back to Apple for now, which is fine. So
yeah, it's fine. I mean, the other keyboards are cool. Like, it's nice to have.
But I do miss my clack keyboard. It was cool.
Oh, I type over. The last time I was tested, I typed like, I think it was well over 90 words a minute with a 95% accuracy. So I'm like one of these, crazy fast typist people, maybe faster now. And when I went from a non-mechanical to mechanical, like, that skyrocketed.
Really? It went up?
It went up. When I went to mechanical.
Yeah, mechanical keyboards are the best. You get the feel.
I didn't realize it actually improved your typing.
That's why gamers use mechanical keyboards, bro.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Exactly. So it's all about going raw dog, right?
Yeah, cool. All right, awesome. So we sent our links out. We're ready to go.
Links are out.
Yeah.
We're live.
We're
live.
Talk about,
you guys.
Go ahead.
What? Forget it. Nothing. I was just a little confused. But
no,
you
we're
guys
good.
were confused.
No, we're talking about the links being out. So
yes.
So we're talking about VPVR. Can you tell us what that's about? How you use it?
We have a lot of people asking about this because they look at my charts and they they see these volume bars on the right hand side that you can see these green and or these sort of blue and yellow volume bars. I'm going to adjust their width a little bit to make it a little easier to see. Okay. So this is volume by price. Most people think of volume. They look at the bottom of the screen and they see these volume bars that we're used to looking at, which has to do with volume by time.
Right.
So you have this is a 15-minute chart. So each of these bars are 15 minutes worth of volume. Well, that's fine because that's like buyer, seller, volume, blah, blah, blah. But this actually has to do with volume by price.
Oh.
Okay. So why does that matter?
Ah.
Right. So
sorry, it's clicking for me. I'm getting excited already.
Yeah. No, it's actually really cool. So now it actually goes based on the chart. So if I move this chart, watch these bars on the right as I move this chart around. Now you see how that changed?
Yep.
So it has to do with the actual bars on the chart and where they went. Now you can see this arrow that I drew like right here. I drew this chart for one of our members this morning. I deleted a bar down here. You saw me delete it. And I'll explain that. I'm actually going to put it back up for now, just so we can have a reference point for later. Okay. So far it's following my chart pretty well. And the way that this works is that the longer these bars right here, the more volume happened at this price. So time is irrelevant. The only way that time is relevant is it's as per this chart. So the reason that's helpful is because there are a lot of different ways to trade levels. So you want to know where your supports and resistances are, and this is a very helpful way to do it. Your supports and resistances are going to occur in areas where there was a lot of price action. And the areas where price is agreed upon between buyer and seller, that's where buyers and sellers are they're duking it out, right? Okay, sellers want to sell at this price, buyers want to buy at this price, and it sort of lingers in that area. It's called price discovery. And in this case, there's a lot of action right in this area.
Yeah. And
this is also where this big red line is. Okay, so that red line is part of the VPVR, volume profile visible range. Okay, that's what that stands for. And the red line is what's known as a point of control. There are some other parts of this indicator that I have hidden because it starts to get really complex, and I don't know that we need to go that deep into VPVR today. And plus, I rarely use those anyway. In my TA in general, my technical analysis, I believe that price action is what matters the most. So where these bars go and how they move, that's really what matters. More than indicators, more than RSI, more than MACD, more than any of that. I just look at price action. And then I kind of use the indicators as filters. One of those filters is going to be VPVR because that reflects structure. Structure is supports and resistances. Those can be simply determined by looking at price action, but the VPVR is a nice sort of a supplemental way.
Confirmation.
A confirmation, yeah, it's a filter.
Just another layer that makes it more interesting.
Yeah, because you can sort of it just gives you like you say, a confirmation. It lets you stack up your indicators in a sense. And at the time, I said, okay, there's two paths here. One is if BTC gets incredibly weak, incredibly fast, or incredibly strong, incredibly fast, because alts tend to dump when that happens. Or if BTC kind of remains stable. And for the period of this time, it has remained stable, and it's essentially done what I said it was going to do. These arrows, I do them as a basic idea. Anybody that's looking at my charts, like you'll see this arrow. It's like just a basic idea of what can happen. It doesn't mean that it's going to go right to here exactly, right to there exactly. If it does, it's kind of cool, but I don't expect it to happen. But essentially, this volume right here, there was a fair amount traded right here. It doesn't look like it according to price action, but there is a little bit of resistance right there. And so at the time I looked at the chart, I saw that we were encountering resistance. I said it might break through, and it actually did. But then
it kind of gives you like another aspect of the story that really, just looking at that chart does not tell you.
It refines, because I could personally tell even before these bars happened, knowing what I know about TA, I could see that there was some action right here just based on this little minor consolidation. I can drop down deep time frames. I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at that. In fact, if you go back, if you change the chart a little bit and look at a wider profile, you can see that there's prior action right here. I can see that there's action right here. Like I have a discerning enough eye, because this is how I make my money. But you know, to have that confirmation, it just kind of sometimes will refine that view. I don't want to say it's something that you can't otherwise see. However, I find it to be helpful, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that there isn't much else to talk about with VPVR. It's pretty much that simple. There is a question from Yomami in the room.
Sorry, that just sounds really funny.
I know Yomami he or she. Yomami's a dude, I'm pretty sure. Is solid, man. Really, really good with TA, and very active in our back testing channel, which is really cool. So there's this kind of opaque looking bit of volume up here, and you'll also see it usually at the bottom too, not always, but there's going to be an area on the top where there's prior volume. There's going to be an area on the bottom there's prior volume. So why is that different? Well, this area that is not opaque, 75% of the traded volume on this chart occurred in that area. 25% occurred in this area. It's as simple as that. So what it's called is actually, it's called the value range. So if you want to know the technical term, from here to there is called the value range. Yeah. And what's to be known about the value range is that, you know, depending on how you do your charts, if you have your chart kind of, if you understand how to do VPVR in a relevant sense, looking at like trading sessions and things like that, you'll find that once you sort of get past the value range, oftentimes you'll just really go far. You go far and fast. Huh. So if the price were to actually go above here, there's a chance it would go far and fast. But the thing is, that's
very, very practical. If it breaks above the price discovery range.
Yeah, if it breaks above the value range.
Probably gonna run a little.
Yeah, the value range, which could be looked at as a price discovery range too.
Okay.
And so if it might run a little bit, remember this is only on the 15-minute chart. So if I go out to say like the hourly chart, that's going to be a totally different picture, because you're looking at a different set of trading. In this sense, though, we do have that same kind of area where it could run if it goes above that too. So that hasn't changed. It also, on this chart here, shows this opaque down here, where if the price does dip below here, it could move pretty violently, or in a volatile sense, kind of down here. But if we zoom out to say like the 4-hour chart, then we might see an entirely different picture.
Yeah.
See? So if you look at the 4-hour chart, you actually see a lot more volume down here. So even though it might kind of run down here, if you only looked at the 1-hour chart, you wouldn't see that support was here that I drew earlier. And as a matter of fact, on the 4-hour chart, your point of control, which is where the most volume that has occurred in this visible range, which goes back to just at the end of November, most of that volume occurred right here. So if you only looked at, like, say, the 15-minute or the hour chart, you wouldn't know there was a major support down there. It wouldn't appear on the VPVR. So again, you know, you don't ever want to trade based on any one thing. It's just never a good idea. Yeah. Entertainment purposes, I say that.
Yeah, all of it adding insight, color, clarity, helpful.
Color, cut, clarity, and carat. Those are the 4 things you use to create a diamond.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, guys, I don't know that there's much else to talk about. Does anybody in the room have any questions right now, or?
I didn't see anything pressing. There's some snarky things. I was going to say, I'm about to duck out, but do you want to take a quick look at BTC for people before we go?
Yeah, sure. That's not a bad idea.
Cool. I'm gonna say goodbye, but enjoy. I'll check out what you had to say about BTC later. Take care, guys.
Sounds good. See you, Frank. I'm gonna jump on the
pull up the BTC, the falling knife, do re mi.
Do re mi. Well, this is a chart that I drew yesterday. How do you like that?
Hey, there you go. You nailed it, brother. That's all timestamp too. Love it.
Timestamps. Yep. That's no, it did actually deviate from what I thought it would do. And Crypto Nako's made a good call last night, and then he didn't follow his own call, and he wasn't too happy about that. His initial call, he kind of had some conflicting TA, which we all do. But actually, Z made the call initially that it would go up like this, and so Z had it right on. The basically volume got really low. If you see this little tiny bar right there on the bottom, it might be hard to see on this chart, but long story short, the market makers went ahead and they let it fall, and it stopped a lot of people out of the market, and then they pushed it up really high. But now it's fallen even lower. So for people who actually got stopped out last night right here, they're actually ahead in Satoshi now because they could actually buy back in a little lower. Our next point, I think, is going to be at the bottom of this arrow. The reason I say that is because that's where these sort of lower wicks happen on this greater consolidation. So our next main decision point, and this is based on Coinbase price, everybody. So of course, if you're looking at, whatever Bitfinex, you're going to have maybe $100 difference on there, a little $100 higher. But if you're looking at the pattern, which is what matters, I would say our next decision point is going to be at Coinbase price 34.50 or so, roughly that. It could go up there, it could go down there, and that right now is about as far into the future as I
wonder what the CME price or the XBX price is right now, because that accounts to those two indexes. They really account for a lot of the manipulation and stuff.
Oh, I heard there was a spike in the futures.
Yeah,
actually, and that spike was around this, but I don't know if that spike. Because futures don't just happen. Futures, the contracts close once a month, right? So I've never traded the futures market, so I'm not really familiar with how that operates. But the guys who are making their trades, they trade based on what's going to happen in that 30-day period, not on a daily, right? Or no?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Have you traded futures, or are you aware of how that works?
No, it's on the daily.
Okay. It's on the daily. Okay, so they could have. Okay, so that spike might, that would be good to know. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the comments here.
These charts are useless.
I know.
It's from J.R.R. Tolkien.
J.R.R. Tolkien. Well, what he can do is J.R.R. Tolkien can.
You can go back to Middle Earth.
Go to Middle Earth where they don't trade anything, and go. Smoke some weed with Gandalf.
Or how about weed with what's his name? My precious.
Precious.
That's it.
Precious. These charts are useless, filthy Parkinsons.
That's a good one, bro.
I forgot I had that one, dude.
That's a good one.
From here on out, dude, anybody that says that is going to be Smeagol.
Smeagol.
Smeagol. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Smeagol. Yeah. So there you go. The JR, you are now the Hobgoblin. You are now Smeagol. So good luck trading without charts, and have fun with that. Go eat some raw fish with your bad teeth. But yeah, dude, it's that's what's gonna happen. As far as my charts are concerned, apparently they were pretty accurate over the last 24 hours.
Yep. The beatdown. I mean, we were calling the beatdown since May. We're calling that 5,800, the 4,400, and now all the way down to 3,300 is a possibility. The turnaround could happen. I mean, look, man. I mean, you and I are both in the OTC world. We do a lot of the OCC trades. We've seen a lot of the wheels come through, and one of our partners involved in OTC said it best, man. Who's seeing all this price drops? And what was the analogy he used, man? It was the best analogy.
The OTC guy, yeah. Are you talking about the Maddie, yeah.
His analogy was spot on, man.
Yeah, what he said was that they're going to push the price down to scare out all the weak hands. This is basically scaring all the white trash off the golf course.
That's exactly what he said. He goes, because look, there's so many institutions at play right now, like heavy hitters. I kid you. One of these days, I'm gonna start taking on some redacted contracts, some redacted POFs, and just throw it on the screen, and show you exactly what the hell it is that's happening in the Bitcoin world. People don't understand because they're not in on OTC. They don't see the big money being moved. I'm talking about institutions, man. You know, one of which we're both aware is one of the largest hedge funds on the planet right now is brokering a deal on a massive amount of coin, a deal that I'm very privy to, that we're both, Cowboy and I are involved with. They wouldn't be doing this if they thought it was worthless. No, they're beating the crap out of it in order to get in and then ride the wave up in this coming year. There's no doubt about it. But BTC is going to get a massive springbound effect that's going to happen. They're scaring it. He said it best. They're literally they're scaring the white trash off the golf course. And that's exactly what's happening. There's a lot of stress selling right now. There's a lot of panic selling. During the stabilization, when Bitcoin was bouncing around, you know, from 5,800 to 6,200 to 6,400, and you know, that range between 6,200 and 6,800, it was just bouncing around. Man, what was some of the OTC discounts we saw? We saw like a you know, net 4, gross 8, net 4, you know, a 10.5. Now it's like those discounts. Those discounts started to disappear when it was range locked. You were getting slumped. Now, man, believe it or not, bro, here I am. I'm looking at OTC deals that are happening right now with the lawyers in escrow facilities like Denton's, and some tier 1 firms out in Canada like Dunton's Rainville, Wilmington Trust. I'm seeing these deals going. They're sitting there. They're sitting at an 8.4, 7.4, 10.5. Stress selling, and who's buying it? Who's buying it? It's the bloody freaking institutions. They're coming in. I mean, dude, when I'm on the conference call line and I got some heavy-hitting firms, institutions, these are FINRA licensed, FINRA registered, FINRA compliant, you know, institutions, and they're sitting there, they're literally on the call. Yeah, we'll take it all. We'll take it all. Here's a seller in Dubai. He's selling literally 1 million. So to start off with, it's 400,000. Then he wants to roll it up to 1 million Bitcoins.
That's like a huge percent of the circulating supply. I mean, this is, I think it's kind of like this. They know what's going to happen in the future. And I can show you guys if you want the open interest. In fact, I'm going to open this up so people can see this. And this is going to go right with what V is saying right now. So Bitcoin open interest has to do with what the largest groups are doing, right? So if you're looking at the future sentiment, this is CME, CBOE, look right here on the screen. This is over at bitger.com. The funds are neutral, right? So basically the funds, they're not selling, they're not buying. What are they doing? Well, if they're not selling and they're not buying, then they're holding what they got. Now, we know there was a flurry of transactions that actually occurred around that 6,000 level, 6,800 level. A lot of people were doing a lot of deals. Now the funds are just holding on. Well, what they can do is they can afford the opportunity cost. So that means that, you know, this is how I'm interpreting it. It doesn't mean that it's true. This is just my guess for entertainment purposes only, but I think it makes a lot of sense. If you've done your transactions, you know something's going to be worth a lot of money in the future. There's an entire game to push all the white trash off the golf course. They bought when they could, right? So right now, anybody who's holding Bitcoin at this price, like lots of it, probably they're not selling it.
No.
So the big boys, if they want to buy something, they got to buy it when people are selling it. Right now, the money velocity is probably 0. So if the big boys can't get in right now, not very easily, they got to pay premiums. They got to find somebody who's willing to sell a few 100,000 Bitcoin or something like that. It's just not likely. So in my opinion, that's why we saw all this like bounce at 6,000 all year long, because that's where they knew that they could get in and get positioned for what's going to happen in the future. So once that positioning happened, everybody filled up where they needed to fill up. And once the technical market was able to unfold and they were able to work around that, that's what I think they were waiting for. They got filled up.
I'm going to share a screen, dude. I might just do this. I don't even care. People think see, people don't know, brother. They don't know who they talking to, man.
Nope.
They don't know. Did you see that, folks? Do you see this?
I'm only seeing my screen right now.
Boom. Do you see that number?
I'm only seeing my screen on the YouTube. I don't think anybody sees your screen, V.
No, it'll come up. The YouTube is delayed by like 5 seconds.
There you go. I see it now. I see it now.
Y'all see that? How much cash is that, bro?
That would be 203. That's about $607 million.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's like
that was a proof of funds that I had to do on a deal from one institutional client in order to get one tranche of BTC. That's the real deal, folks. That's from a client. I ain't playing around. This ain't hokey pokeys, Bitcoin hour. No. When I say that Cowboy and I are involved in this, we are deep. I could show you POFs all day long from multiple institutions. All day long. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, people have no clue. The amount of money moving into the smart ass another way. Smart ass. The point is this. When you have large institutions moving in, they're buying when the price is getting beaten down. What does that tell you? Do you think no, they're gaming it. They're gaming it. And what they're doing is they're gaming it in the sense to scare the weak hands off, getting the plebeians off. And what they're doing is they're positioning themselves. Why? Because they know the turnaround is this coming year. The turnaround for this coming, you thought, oh my God, the Dow lost 800 points. Folks, everything that I've been predicting about in terms of the Dow losing 800 points, in terms of oil getting beaten down, in terms of gold getting beaten down, in terms of cryptos getting beaten down, you're going to see the greatest explosion and chase of yield happening this coming year, the likes of which you haven't seen. What we're going through right now, these are just the stressors. The stressors are involved. Okay, the stressors are involved. And folks, I got dozens of contracts. Oh my God! I mean, Jesus Christ! Let me see if I can find a contract. Go ahead, Cowboy. You talk. Let me see if I can pull a contract real quick.
Pull them up, man. That's so.
I am not. All gloves are coming off, Cowboy. Gloves are coming off.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, like for those watching, these are like redacted, so we're nobody's personal information is being shown, but these are the kind of phone calls and stuff that that V and I do on the back end. But basically, I think that, like I said, if you look at this screen while we're waiting for V to get out his contracts, this is the CME CBOE, right? So in order to even be on there, you do have to have a certain amount of Bitcoin to be able to trade. I don't think they allow naked trading on there. I'm not that familiar with futures, but what I do know is that your funds are neutral. Your others, aka others, if you look down here, other reportables, these are big professional traders. Big professional traders. And the others right now are selling. Okay, so they're selling right now. So basically the big professional traders are in sell mode, according to the open interest, according to this website, bigger.com. Now the small people are buying. Now the way that I read that is now the others, it's not easy for them to get in because they are bigger movers. In the futures market, it might be different. It might be different on futures market, but the small people, they can move around. So if the futures market, if it's analogous to actually buying and selling on the open market, then I would look at it as, the others are in sell mode because they know it's going to go down a little bit more. The smaller people are in buy mode because they're going to kind of ride the little waves and stuff. But in reality, that's probably something that somebody that knows a little bit more about futures markets should speak on. I don't want to speak, too much on that. But what I can tell you, the funds are neutral on price. They're neutral. They're not playing around.
I just pulled the contract. Here's a contract that was it's a little bit older, but this is a couple weeks old. This is for 500,000 BTC. I'm just gonna pull it up real quick so people see what the heck I'm talking about. Boom. All right, you see that? I highlighted it. 500,000 BTC.
The screen is a little blank right now, but there it comes. There it is.
All right. There we go. 500,000 BTC. And when you scroll down, there's the tranche schedule. Okay? There's the tranche schedule. There's the discount rates right there. There's the articles and procedures. There's representatives and warranties. This is an actual BTC contract, folks. This is the real deal. Again, this ain't Fumi Flams, BTC, whatever. This is the real deal. Go ahead, Cowboy. You want to talk? I want to pull one more.
Sure. Think about what's 10,000 BTC. That's, if I'm not mistaken, is that $3 million? Or is it 30 million? 10,000 BTC. Let's do 10,000 times 3,000. I believe that's $30 million, if I'm not mistaken. So even at a fraction of these large contracts, you're still looking at massive amounts of money going around buying Bitcoin. Because there's a lot of talk about, I talked to this attorney on one of these deals. One of my first, conversations around these deals. They're very low conversion rate, very hard deals to make. But if you push hard enough, eventually something pops, right? Well, I'm talking to this attorney, and this attorney, I found out through one of my contacts, it's just like this prepubescent kid.
He's like, yeah, well, if you look on, there's no wallet that has more than a certain amount of Bitcoin. So there's nobody who's selling that much Bitcoin in the world.
I'm thinking to myself, dude, they allowed you through law school? Because lawyers must not be that smart. No. If you had 100,000 Bitcoin, it's a massive amount of Bitcoin. If you had that, would you have it all on the same wallet? I wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't. So, there's a lot of talk that's going around by people who just don't know what they're talking about. There's a lot of talk going around. Someone says, no one's selling 100,000 Bitcoin. Well, no, there's no wallet with that many in it. Like, okay, well, actually, this is not how things work. They probably have in 20 different wallets. So that's, I just wanted to bring that point up to people who are kind of thinking, oh, that's not possible. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So did you have another contract?
Yeah, I'm going to show you a tranche schedule real quick. What that would look like. Let me see here. I could find the damn tranche schedule. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I want to make sure there's no information out there. You
want to make sure you're not giving away. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, definitely. I want to be very careful of that.
And these contracts, you can find them out there, but when they're coming from like an attorney's office, then they're real. You can actually. I had somebody send me like this proof of funds, and he's like, "Oh yes, well he has a standing order for $5 million a day in the UK," and like I looked at the date on there, and I had that same proof of funds given to me like 2-3 months ago. So, I mean, yeah, I was like, dude, what are you talking about? You're an idiot. So a lot of people, it's just, this OTC game, everybody thinks they could be a Bitcoin broker and just go in and do it. And it's just not that easy to do. But the point is that we're in the circle. You worked at RBS, a commodities desk or something like that, didn't you? I mean, you actually.
Yeah, and also was at Earth Metals LLC. Then after leaving corporate America, man, I had my best in gold over at my boys in Hong Kong. And I've been there since, and you know who those LBMA players are. You've talked with them. Yep. You've talked with my partner in Hong Kong. So, yeah. So
the reason I mentioned that is that I mean.
But according to some, I'm a fry cook at McDonald's and I hawk televisions at Best Buy, bro.
Dude, you're not supposed to mention that. How do you think we met, dude?
I know. We're both fry cooks, bro. That's why when FINRA licensed and FINRA registered institutions, when they KYC you and me, where they look at our entire background, they let schlep rocks like us near because we're not qualified, so we bullshit our way through life, right?
Well, yeah, FINRA stands for Fry Cook International Review.
That's what it is. That's right. That's right.
Asshole. That's what it's FINRA. Fry cooks, dude. They let guys like us through, no problem.
Yeah, if you know anybody anybody wants to get involved with OTC, you know somebody out there selling Bitcoin or wants to buy Bitcoin at large amounts, give us a call. Contact us. You can either get Nick at liquidbase.io or V at liquidbase.io and just get us through that way, and we can get it done for you guys.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Another way, actually, a smart aleck a little while ago was asking that question, like, "Hey, how do we talk to you?" So I don't know who another way is. I hope he doesn't hate us. But yeah, that's the people that we talk to are actually people at like regulated desks, and a lot of them aren't even desks. A lot of them are just straight up institutional buyers and things like that.
Yep.
Namely came through a lot of these contacts from having worked at those major desks and those major people.
But I thought I was a fry cook, man. How can I have those contacts?
You're a fry cook. Hawking
televisions on the on the part time.
Yeah, I sell pencils and windshields over the phone too.
Do you really?
Yep. Yeah, pencils make me the
I'm
most.
a squeegee man in Manhattan now on my part-time basis. That's what I do at night.
I juggle. I wear a clown suit and I juggle freaking bowling pins at the intersection of Alameda and freaking Huntington Park. It's a great income. They love to pay the clowns.
It's really
awesome.
Anyway, what else we got, man?
That's it. I mean, it's kind of just having a fun coffee chat at this point. I mean, there's really no way to know what's going to happen. With the price of Bitcoin, it really just depends on what the market makers want to do. Right. So the way that I do handle that is I will look at the charts and I will trade based on those charts. So my Satoshi count goes up over time. Whether the price is, 6,500, 8,500, 3,500, I'm just making Satoshi. And as people who are actually over at watchestrade.live, isn't that the whole website there, watchestrade.live?
Yeah, watchestrade.live, or you go to WUT.live. No, watchestrade.io. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's get that right. Watchestrade.io. I'm so bad. I should really know that. Watchestrade.io. So anybody who's actually in the room is able to see us do our thing. And one of the things I did was we had that big drop there a couple weeks ago. By the way, I'm usually up most weekdays at like 3:45 a.m. because I trade the New York Forex session, and I also trade all the cryptos during that time. There's a lot of volatility around that time. And the UK is still kind of going, and New York kind of kicks in, so there's just a lot going on. And there's a massive dump, and I was awake for it. It was awesome. And I had called it 11 days. I have a chart that I could put it up like right here anytime anybody wants to see it. I have a chart 11 days before it dropped that showed exactly what it would do, and it followed that chart almost to the T. And so I sold at that time. I sold at $6,500. And I watched that sucker go down. Now, I thought it was actually going to bounce at 58. It didn't. I got in at 58, and I set some pretty tight stops in case it didn't. I had a range of stops that I set, and once it actually started to dump, I manually got myself out at a very small loss. I think I lost like 1% of my book. And since then, I have not quite doubled my Satoshi, but I've at least added like 60% more sats. So I'm up in Bitcoin, and that's the mission. My dollar amount has barely changed. Like I said, I lost 1% of my book in USD, but I've gained several Satoshi. And I think that regardless of what they do to the price in the short term, if the big boys are buying, that means in the long term it's going to be useful. People are going to use it. There's the idea that the Lightning Network is how the banks are going to make the money off of Bitcoin. Without getting too far into that, that's kind of a Roger Ver thing. I like Roger, some people don't. But long story short, if the big boys are buying, then I'm just going to increase my Satoshi by trading. And what that allows me to do is on a consistent basis by reading charts, I can gain Satoshi without having to hope that it doesn't go to 1,000. Because if it's going to 1,000, I know I'm going to see it probably before it happens. I'm going to get stopped out, and then it goes to $1,000, and then I buy back in, and I've tripled my Bitcoin.
Exactly.
That's the advantage of actually looking at the market at least once or twice a day. You have an idea of what's going to happen. And people can watch me do that purely for entertainment purposes over at watchestrade.io. And that's it. And also just a thank you to the people who are, watching us for their entertainment purposes. They're also the same kind of people who are in there trading on their own. And I think that it takes a lot of guts. I think it takes a lot of bravery. And it takes a special kind of person to actually risk your money in a market, especially a crazy market like this. So my hat's off to you.
Yeah,
and that's all I got. Definitely. So V might have us on silent. I don't know if V is still here.
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, man. I think I had the mute button on. Yep, that's it, folks. Again, guys, subscribe to the channel. Check out our YouTube channel. Watch us trade. A lot of this video we post there as well. Hit the subscribe button and also send us an email. Send us an email if you have any questions. And it's either nick@liquidbase.io or v@liquidbase.io. And we can help you out if you need to buy Bitcoin, trade Bitcoin, whatever the heck it is. And that's it. With that being said, we're over and out.